Vipoave, welcome. I'm Kathy Wempovi Sanchez. Welcome to our sacred Jemez Mountains, our ancestral homelands in northern New Mexico. As you can see from the map, the Rio Grande goes along the side, and this is our ancient ancestral homelands. It's a dormant volcano. It's the Valles Caldero, our Jemez Mountains, but you'll notice also right on the edge, there's a black dot, Los Alamos National Laboratory, sits right on the rim of a volcano. So Los Alamos National Laboratory is in our sacred mountains. And so the question of how do you think we might be thinking into the future? So our future visioning, our dreaming is also that we will be decommissioning nuclear sites globally and beginning to build relations with indigenous communities that will lay the foundation for the restorative justice that is way long overdue. So in order to do this, we have our native way of thinking, our knowingness that we use in our dream space, and then the knowledge base of the predominant worldview systems, and both have to work together within our presence in order to make sense of what is happening now in the world. So two world harmony starts from within, and this is a butterfly model that has the ability to integrate the both ways of thinking so that we can be present in our situations as they arise now. So the butterfly model shows you how we as humans should be thinking of ourselves in a different way. We as humans are multiversal, we're earth-centered, we're spirit-based, community kindred peoples. And we as humans are two-legged relatives to all of Earth's visions. We are outer visions of our inner visions. So this is a way we should be thinking about approaching our time here on Earth. So if we, in our knowingness of how life was, we should be in a framing of culture of peace, relational model, relationaltivity model. That is by redefining and reaffirming and looking at things in a loving light towards contrasting this contradictory management that is happening because we in our culture of peace are finding ourselves co-opted by the culture of violence. So in order to understand our culture of peace, we all need as humans to think about what are our core values that guide us in our daily work, in our daily lives, in our being present on Mother Earth. So these are some of the core values that Tehuim United has been emulating, practicing. And so I won't go into all of them, but you can read them later on. These are some more core values. And as you can see, they are very much related to our way of thinking in a culture of peace. So in order to do that, we need to understand where the culture of violence is coming from. So culture of violence cannot exist on its own. It's very parasitical. It is, even if you compare it to this invasive coronavirus that is upon us, that is the culture of violence. It thrives on inner energy. It is not alive by itself. And so that virus finds a host, it injects its values, and you have the values here for the culture of violence into our cells, into our psyche. And so later, as it enters, it deconstructs from the inside and it kills those cells because it's reproducing itself. And so in order to reproduce itself, it has placed a criminal justice system. It uses isolation, fear. It disconnects, that derooting of all our connections with Mother Earth. It deconstructs systems, and it's a destruction of beloved trust. So if we know how the cultural violence operates, then we know that we are not going to stay in the belly of the beast. We need to address all these isms, all these things that are being used within the culture of violence. And so protecting those most vulnerable are our pregnant women farmers and our foods. We will be shifting rapidly from a military economy to one that redistributes military resource so that we can be thinking about universal health care, compensation for impacted communities, medical and emergency responses. We want to claim our right and our responsibilities to have clean water access, renewable energy, and a culture of peace. And a good place to start would be in reading and knowing what are the rights of Indigenous people, what are the environmental constitutional amendments and the Native liberation and return of occupied and stolen lands. It will be center to all mass movements for change and nuclear non-proliferation. And I put over here the website to go to so you can read up on this declaration. It's very inclusive and it's very powerful because this is coming from the people. We need to be at the table in the decision making that affects, and these are our rights and our declarations. And to be in a culture of peace, it is very simple. We just need every day, every moment, give love and give thankfulness. We have our spiritual connections, we have our heart, we have our mind, and all this together makes the two worlds of the two wings possible. If we practice indigenous precautionary principles, if we're asking our mind body, if we're asking heartfully as well, and asking multi-spirit connective guidances. We need the guidances that comes from the cosmos, from the spirits, from the dream space. It enters us, it enters into our heart and our minds. And if all are in sync with each other in giving love and thanks, then we will move forward with purposefulness into our daily work. So this is a slide that shows all three T's are in all cultures. Every culture, whether it be in the mountains, by the rivers, by the oceans, in the urbans, in the cities, we all have the ability on both sides of our knowingness, our experiential presence, and the knowledge base. So thought, technology, and techniques, those are the three T's found in all cultures. And the thought is our values and our beliefs. And that's going back to your core values. What are their thoughts processes? What are your what technologies are you using? What are your methods and techniques? What are your activities that you practice into becoming a human on Mother Earth, wherever you find yourself to be? So how will we be in our world? So how will our work be like? So how do you think this will be going forward from now? So in this two-world butterfly model, how we see ourselves in our work is through the openness, through inclusiveness, through fully culturally informed with both and more ways that are possible, relationality, transparency. All these may be quietly or quiet absorptions, but they are of loving, caring, nurturing ways of the natural world order of coexistence into timeless presence of human kindred spirits. This is how we should be doing our work if we are within the culture of peace. And now I would just like to close in our native way, in my table language, a real heartfelt message. Gindi, nanoari weke po aba, good dug out to the no be yari, nanoari you came aba, good dug hot to the. He will be unshot me, vinka yami, be pindi wari, nine be quio nine be sedo, nine being the moon the man, the caget nami, nine be pin, nine be horn, nine be pombiari, we don't the money, what nango to quio nine daddy, he already puri, nine be a what he already puri. Good. Thank you. Oh.